Today, the Prime Minister was in Chennai in the evening to inaugurate infrastructure projects worth close to 32,000 crore rupees. But the focus, of course, remained on the perennial battle of Hindi imposition. Even as he shared the stage with the PM, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Stalin, pitched his Dravidian model, a model that he said makes Tamil Nadu a pioneer in economic factors and ensures social justice, equality and inclusive growth. But more importantly, he demanded that Tamil now be treated at par with Hindi and be made the official language of the union. The interesting thing is that soon after the PM spoke and he went a step further. While speaking of Tamil, the Prime Minister underlined that Tamil language is eternal and Tamil culture is global.
Honorable Prime Minister, I have just listed out some of the important demands of Tamil Nadu, like Kachativu, NEP bill, GST dues, Tamil as official language in union government offices and in Madras High Court. I appeal you to consider them favorably as early as possible.
The Tamil language is eternal and the Tamil culture is global. From Chennai to Canada, from Madurai to Malaysia, from Namakkal to New York, from Salem to South Africa. The occasion of Pongal and Puttandu are marked with great fervor.
Now, the Prime Minister's visit, remember, comes amid a flaming language row where a competition was on today morning between Vanakkam Modi and Go Back Modi as a protest against perceived Hindi opposition. But with the Prime Minister repeatedly underlining the richness and value of the Tamil language, and given the kind of reception he got in the state itself, will the parochial political push of pitting one language against the other finally be laid to rest?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Shehzad Poonawala, National Spokesperson, BJP, continues with us. We are joined by S.S. Sriram, political analyst, Mr. A. Saravanan, spokesperson of DMK, who will have the first question. It was interesting since today morning, the DMK was pushing Go Back Modi, but when the Prime Minister actually landed, it seemed that people were welcoming him more than telling him to go back, Mr. Saravanan.
See, this is not a question of coming or asking him to go back. This is a question of whether the union government is giving the due rights that is entitled to the state of Tamil Nadu. This is the perennial question ever since the BJP has come to power. For if there is a flood in Gujarat, the Prime Minister announces 500 crore immediate relief. That is not happening when that is the state of Tamil Nadu. And when you are also speaking about Hindi, the kind of importance that is being given
to Hindi is not given to the other languages, the kind of money. BJP is acting as a Hindi majoritarian party.
How?
All the schemes.
Today, the Prime Minister literally began his speech by speaking in Tamil. The fact is that he is not a Tamil-speaking person, but he started his speech with that, and he said, and I quote, that Tamil language is eternal, Tamil culture is global. Far from running down the language, he repeatedly at every platform makes it a point to say that Tamil is one of the richest languages of our country.
That is a fact, Padmaja, that is a fact. He's reiterating the fact. What is so great about it?
I mean, it flies in the face of what you're saying, that Hindi is being imposed and Tamil is being run down.
I'm coming to that. See, the BJP is a party of mere rhetoric and words. There is no action. We have spoken about it much longer. You were asking how Hindi is being pushed. For example, today the Prime Minister opened around 1,000 houses. Half the money was given by the state government, but the scheme is in Hindi. Will they understand? Even I'm not able to understand. I'm not able to say the scheme to you, what the scheme is. I know something, it's called PMKY or something. This is the kind of imposition we are opposing. We are saying, don't do this.
Oh, so you're saying it should not be called the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Oh, so the scheme is Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. So that in itself is a tacit Hindi imposition. Shehzad Poonawala answer.
Now I hope Saravanan will offer me the same courtesy I have by hearing him patiently. Mr. Saravanan, in 1910, Congress Party started the Dakshin Prachar Vibhag to promote Hindi in South India. In 1949, Hindi Divas was started by Congress Party. In 1950, Constitution mein Congress Party said that in 15 years, English should be replaced by Hindi as a link language. In 1951, they made it compulsory in Uttar Pradesh. In 1963, they passed the Official Languages Act, in which the progressive use of Hindi was pushed. In 1976, it was a parliamentary committee was created. 2011, it gave a report which was chaired by Mr. Chidambaram, and he said that there should be additional use of Hindi in government advertisements, in government schemes, that government servants should be asked to study Hindi, that there should be use of Hindi in railways. You did not object one word. By the way, Kachativu Island, when was it given to Sri Lanka? In 1974. Did you raise a word against this in to the Congress Party? By the way, please tell me that it was the GST Council that decides who will get what funds. So if you have an issue, did you raise this in the GST Council meeting? And all states have their balance left because the GST Council decides the order of giving the funds. So you should take it up in the GST Council. But do tell me that it is Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi who took Tamil to the United Nations. It was not any Congress Prime Minister. It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who quotes Thiruvalluvar time and again, whether it is the Finance Minister's speech or whether it is various programs. It is the Prime Minister who says that we respect all official languages of Indian origin and we will always stand by all official languages. But please do tell me that Mr. Chidambaram's report of 2011, do you stand with it? And if you don't, why did you not say that this is imposition of Hindi? Why do you ally with the Congress Party who gave away Kachativu Island? Who gave away Kachativu Island to Sri Lanka? Please tell me.
First respond to the Hindi issue and then we'll go on to the GST Council and Kachativu.
Yes. Padmaja, see, when we are talking about Hindi, history is well settled. We have settled this Hindi debate long back. But only after the advent of the BJP, there is this blatant Hindi push 2 weeks back, $800,000 US. For what? For promoting Hindi in the UN, as though only Hindi speakers are abroad. As though there are no Tamil speakers, Kannada speakers, Malayalam speakers, Telugu speakers, Marathi speakers out of India. What kind of imposition is this? What kind of chauvinism is this?
But how is this imposition? Does promotion of Hindi immediately translate into imposition of Hindi? Are you saying to prove that other languages are good, one has to say that Hindi is bad or Hindi must be exterminated?
I'm not talking.
As a country, you don't have to say that Hindi is bad to prove that other languages are also good. Mr. Saravanan?
See, Padmaja, that is your argument. My argument is they are
it's a common sense argument.
No.
Simply to say, oh, why are you giving money for promotion of Hindi, and this shows that you think Hindi is superior, seems a strange argument.
No, I am only pointing out how much money is spent for that language alone. Answer this question. Are there not no Tamilians abroad? Are there no Kannadigas abroad?
Sir, you're talking about Tamilians abroad. Today, literally the Prime Minister quoted the case of Mr. Murugan, who has MOS, Information and Broadcasting, went to Cannes wearing a veshti because he wanted to represent. He is from Tamil Nadu, so he wanted to represent one of the many rich cultures of Tamil Nadu, and he did it at Cannes, where everyone else was wearing Western outfits. One of our ministers went to Cannes in a veshti.
We don't believe in tokenism. There is no
when you said, oh, why are they doing this? Why aren't they doing it for other people abroad? Are you saying this is tokenism?
One line. Just one line.
Give us money. Promote the
just one line.
One line
just
from
one
Shehzad Poonawala, then I'll bring
just
in
one line.
Saravanan,
just one line. Saravanan, just one line, please. Please condemn the Congress Party which came up with Official Languages Act, which puts the progressive use of Hindi, and the 2011 report of the Parliamentary Committee chaired by Mr. Chidambaram, signed by Mr. Chidambaram, which says more money should be spent on Hindi ads than English ads. Please condemn that. If this is imposition for you, if what we have done is imposition, not integration, please condemn this also in the same breath. You are talking about Hindi imposition. Your standard should be same. Please condemn this.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody who...
Then why are you in alliance with them? Then why are you in alliance with them?
We fought a
why are you in alliance with the Hindi imposing party, sir?
Yes,
sir, abhi tod do.
Break
it right now. Break it on Padmaja show. Do a talaq right now, sir. Do it right now. These Hindi imposing parties, why are you with them, sir?
Because
No, why?
exempt.
So don't be with them. So please do say on behalf of Mr. Stalin, I call this off. Please say it.
He can't do it, Shehzad Poonawalla, also because on the same day that Mr. Stalin was hugging Perarivalan, the Congress in Tamil Nadu was holding protests against his release. So there are far greater issues on which the Congress and DMK clearly don't see eye to eye, and Hindi doesn't really rank up there. Mrs. S.S. Sriram, yes.
It was truly historic visit of Prime Minister to Chennai. I must say people were swayed by his speech. It was a very graceful speech and eloquent speech. He touched upon the people of Tamil Nadu's culture, the language, their contribution to the nation, and also Tamil as a language which he propagates across the globe as its culture. So I really see that as is a sincere intent and his love for people of Tamil Nadu and also for the progressive state of Tamil Nadu. And I think it was a wonderful event today, which we should have probably stuck only to the launch of such schemes rather than touching upon certain things which they should have easily avoided.
No, but the DMK is saying that all of this is tokenism. You don't walk the talk. You come there, you wave, but then you don't really care for people of Tamil Nadu. The BJP doesn't care.
10 years of UPA rule, what did they do for Tamil? 10 years of UPA rule, what did they do for Kachativu? 10 years of UPA rule, what did they do about education being on the state, from the state schedule to the whatever central schedule that it could be? They had the best of 17 years in the central government. And what did they actually do to Tamil Nadu? They only keep issue. What did they do with Kaveri?
Yes.
They did not. They kept.
Can I ask you? What did the Modi government did to Tamil to make it an official language for Madras High Court? What did the Modi government did to
Prime Minister has done much more than what these people have ever done for ruling the state and the country
the development
long,
of
long
Tamil
years
as a
ago.
classical language instead of spending $8 lakh
That is
US dollars on just
what
the
you're talking
development
is actually a tokenism as well. When you can talk about
what did they
Prime
do for
Minister's
Tamil?
tokenism,
Just
what did you do
reciting
was also
some poem
tokenism.
from Bharatiya doesn't make you a true spirit of
So
Tamil.
tell me which Prime Minister ever have done this before?
When are you
Tell me
planning
which
to
Prime
make
Minister has
Tamil
ever
an
done this
official
before?
language of Madras High
Tell
Court?
me.
Okay,
What
Shehzad Poonawalla will respond.
I will give you some hard facts. Okay, sir, I got your question.
Okay,
Sir, I got
Vikraman,
your
Shehzad
question.
Poonawalla responding
Now
to you.
I will
Yes.
give you one by one hard facts. Sir, thank you,
What
sir.
is stopping them from
I am
making
quoting now, please
Tamil
wait.
an
Have
official
patience.
language of Madras High Court?
Okay, sir, okay.
Why are you not answering
down,
the simple
sir.
question?
Okay, I'm
Our
answering. If
BJP
you give me
state
an opportunity,
president,
sir, how
BJP
can I
president
answer?
Annamalai was running away from my
Now you
question in
started
a
on a
different
rant.
channel.
Sir,
just
rant,
2
don't
minutes
rant.
back.
Don't rant.
I'm not crying. You people are
I
not
said
even
rant,
answering the
not crying.
simple
Ranting is
question.
different.
When somebody is
It is one
raising a
grade lower
rights
than
issue,
crying.
you are saying we are politicizing the issue. We are
can
not
you stop,
politicizing.
sir?
We are demanding our rights.
Mr. Vikraman,
Why are
Mr.
you so
Vikraman, this
afraid
is
when
the
we ask
TV
you for
debate.
rights?
Calm
Don't
down.
be an impositionist on me. You are imposing your voice on me now. Don't impose your voice on me. Now let me also speak.
Because I was not given
Okay,
a
sir,
chance to
please.
talk. In Padmaja's show, I am not given equal share to
She
talk.
is also very bad.
So I
PM
need
is
to
also
take
very
my
bad. We are all very
respective
bad
share,
people. You are
an
the good
equal
person.
share
Now please
by
don't
only
impose on me.
demanding my position
Sir, don't
here
impose your voice
by
on me,
raising
sir.
my
All
voice.
right.
Sir, please.
Sir, just like the GST Council, we equitably decide to
decided
distribute all the dues,
And
and
time.
the time also had to be distributed
Now I am
equitably. Yes,
quoting,
Shehzad Poonawalla.
with the name of Shriram, I'm starting. Please now listen to me. 3,000-year-old Tamil poet quoted in June General Assembly by PM Modi. Launched the biography of Thiruvalluvar in North Indian schools. Supported tradition of Jallikattu, welcomed the President of China into Mallapuram, promoted Tamil culture and tourism. Subramaniam Bharti, Chair of Tamil Studies in BHU. PM gave a relief of 900 crores for Chennai floods. First green rail corridor in Tamil Nadu. Kudankulam nuclear plant was dedicated to the country. First new national highway from Dhanukodi was done by our government. Laid the foundation of AIMS Madurai. Spoke about the rights of Sri Lankan Tamils during the bilateral talks with Sri Lanka. Raised the issue of free... Arey, ab kyun beech mein bol rahe ho? Fishermen with Lanka for resolution. Arey, why are you interrupting? Why are you interrupting? Sun lo. Please listen. Please listen. Sir, please listen. Now, very long list. It is a very long list, sir. We have done a lot for Tamilians and we have done for a lot for Tamil also. Please, Suno. Listen. Listen, sir. Now, construction of new Pamban Bridge in Rameshwaram. Arey, sir, again you are interrupting. Again you are imposing on me. Again you are imposing on me. Please, Rameshwaram 270 crore bridge started Tamil Nadu Defence Expo. Now you quote me 5 things Congress did during that tenure. I quoted 16 items. Padmaja ji gave me time. Now you take double time and quote 5 Congress did for Tamil Nadu and Tamil.
Okay, go on, Vikraman.
बोलिए. And आज का 31,500 crores.
Now he is not letting me talk. Sir, with due respect, our GST due is 14,000 crores.
5 things Congress did. Five. I quoted 16. आप 5 बता दो.
Tamil Nadu is demanding our rightful share.
That is okay. You will keep demanding whatever you want, which is not your right also. 5 things Congress did.
Exemption bill. When are you going to give a proper share of money from your center share?
Okay, again we are going to get into this vicious circle where questions are going to be answered with questions. The question, let me make it simpler, is 5 things that Mr. Saravanan you did when you were in government at the center for Tamil Nadu.
So one more thing
you're
to
right.
make sure.
See, when all of them were talking about so many things, when we were in the union government, we ensured that there is no Hindi imposition. We ensured that there is no need. We ensured that, yes, I'm coming to that. We ensured that, no, let me answer and I'll come to the questions. See, then we ensured that it didn't happen. All this status quo changed. When the
5
BJP
things you have not been able to say. After 2 you went on to rhetoric again. Tell me 5 things you all did. I counted 16 things we did in last 7 years.
I'm coming to it.
When will you come to it? After the debate gets over? Or next time Stalin will say it in a speech during the Prime Minister's speech.
Don't get excited.
I am not excited. I am just wondering about the 5 things you all
what we
did.
did for the DMK. When we were in alliance with the BJP, we ensured that they do not
UPA
talk about
what you did during UPA.
They do not talk about uniform civil code. They do not talk about
that is what Tamil Nadu. Saravanan ji, you have to show your face in Chennai.
Yes, I'm coming.
Please, sir, say something better.
I'm saying calm down. Allow me to speak. No, calm down. So the problem is this. And several schemes. We had so many textile parks here. We got so many railway schemes here in the state of Tamil Nadu. This time they are talking about 31,000 crores.
We did, but 5 things you did.
The Prime Minister,
Sir, you are also becoming
MP
like Rahul
of
Gandhi.
Madurai, has gone on record saying that only 1,000 crores have been allocated in the budget.
Sir, what you did 5 things in UPA tenure, sir. I beg of you. You have to show your face in Chennai, sir. आपको चेन्नई में मुंह दिखाना है, sir.
Talking about aims. In 6 years, nothing happened. Not even a stone.
Sir,
what have you done?
Okay, let's make it simpler. Mr. Saravanan, you are saying that right now the Prime Minister has done nothing for the language Tamil. When you were in government at the center, what did you do to promote the Tamil language?
Yes, Padmaja. We made Tamil a classical language. We instituted a research center for Tamil.
Where?
And we
Where did you institute it? Please tell me the details of this. Where you did it? Please show us the details. I told you we started a chair in BHU.
This is what we were able to achieve.
Now this cultural center is very interesting. I think Sriram would want to make a comment on that, about the reality of that. Yes.
I don't know. As Sajad asked, they must give exactly when and where did they start. But I can tell you, Prime Minister has started a classical institute of Tamil research in January in Tamil Nadu, which is fully funded by the central government. And as he rightly said, there is a chair in the name of Bharatiyar in the Banaras University. And he is also speaking about Tamil wherever he goes. He has done much more than people who claim to be the owners of Tamil did nothing. But Prime Minister has done so much for Tamil Nadu and the people of Tamil.
Well, you know, at the end of it, there will always be political differences, but when it comes to the popularity of the person, the pictures are on your screen. This was the Prime Minister, supposedly the same Prime Minister who is accused of imposing Hindi on Tamil Nadu. And you can see from the pictures the reception that Tamil people gave him. We'll leave it to your wisdom. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, for having joined me.